welcome back, Hack Friends, to another lovely Thursday with Alex. This week we're going to be talking about the math that can be found in music. Who would have thought that there was math in music? First, going to start with easy things like basic math to explain some basic music principles, and then we're going to move up in the grades to explain more complex math with more complex music principles. So I really hope you enjoy this explanation of where math can be found in music. So first, let's start with some easy math, counting numbers. To begin, all music has counting. I'm sure you've heard of the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. What we are counting are the notes in each measure, which is separated by that bar line. Measuring is also a math term, and all of the bar lines are measuring an amount of time. At the start of every song, we see a fraction, which is called a time signature. So the top number in the fraction represents how many beats are per measure, and the bottom number represents which type of note would hold the beat. And in this one, it's the quarter note. So going back to our first picture, we see that there are 4 beats per measure, represented by 4 quarter notes, which we can count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Next math concept is everyone's favorite, it's fractions. You might have noticed I said quarter notes before. Quarter notes represent the time measure being split into 4 equal parts, and then a note being held for 1/4 of the measured time. There's also half notes that are held for half the amount of time, and whole notes that are held for the whole entire time. Believe it or not, there are equivalent fractions in music as well. If one whole note equals 4 out of 4, then 2 half notes, one being 2/4, would represent a whole note, and then 1 quarter note, which represents 1/4. If you have 4 of them, that would also equal the whole note. Measures can also be split into 1/8 notes and as small as 1/16 notes. So here you can see one measure with all the different notes that can be split into it, but how they could all be equivalent. Next, we're going to look at patterns in music. Many melodies, which is the catchy rhythms that we remember from songs, are commonly a repeated pattern at a higher pitch. Pitch meaning higher notes being played. So there you could hear and see me play the same melody but with different notes, creating a higher pitch. So the next math concept we're going to use to explain music is also one of everyone's favorites, division. So we began talking about notes and melodies, but what are the musical notes? The musical notes are split into 8 equal sound vibrations that can be repeated through the octaves in any instrument. On the piano, we see octaves as keys. We can see here the keys A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then after G, it repeats again to A. And on a keyboard, there are many octaves. An oct means 8 notes that are repeated in music. So now we're going to talk about the opposite of division, multiplication. Now I said earlier that notes are split into sound vibrations. The way we hear music is through vibrating sounds traveling through the air into our ear. When people play guitar, they play guitar chords that sound really nice when played together. And why is that? The chords are said to be harmonic, which can be explained through multiplication. When considering things are in harmony, we look at the first loop, and that is going to be how much time we compare it to. In our second, we can see there's 2 loops, so it's moving twice as fast. In the third, we can see there are 3 loops, moving 3 times as fast. And in the fourth, there are 4 loops, moving 4 times as fast, but within the same amount of time with the starting point and the end point. So the reason why all of these notes sound good together in a chord is because the notes' loops can start and finish their loops at the same time. So I hope you enjoyed this week's video on the different math things that we can find in music. There's actually a lot of connection, and there's even more than I explained today. So if this interests you, this is a great topic to keep learning and exploring it. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you have yourself a great week. I will see you next week.